Guess I'm going straight to bed. See you guys later.
Shalom, everybody. What's up, Sarah? Jesus Jefe, Cindy on the mountain. We're just hanging out. Actually, been hanging out the better part of the afternoon. Guten Abend, Doug Bucher. Shalom, brother. What do we got going on? What burning bear questions do you have buried deep in your soul that you just have to get out? Finally went out and did the things. Good job, Johnny, Christopher, Aaron, Trent. How do I keep a rabbit out of my garden? Well, you know, I just fed a rabbit to my murder dog earlier today because I shot it 3 times with a 22. That'd be a good place to start. Also, fences, although rabbits can dig under fences and they can also chew small gauge wire. So I like the rifle method. And if the rifle method doesn't work, then I would use the shotgun method, probably a number 7.5 shot and a 20 gauge 2 3/4 inch shell. And if you think there's multiple rabbits, what you do is you hang them on the garden, the posts on the fence around the garden, so that all their little bastard buddies see what happened to Todd the bunny and they don't go in there. It's much like lopping the heads off of your enemies and putting them on spikes approaching your capital city. It's the same concept. I would do that for sure. What's that?
Are rabbits that smart?
No, they're not smart. They're very instinctual. In fact, a rabbit's best defense is to sit perfectly still. And then look at you with one eye out of the corner of their eye, like, you can't see me. Like I might be colorblind, but I'm not stupid. And then I shoot them. So
I was gonna say, they make good target practice.
they make great target practice. So I would do that. Quit my job to cash out my 401k. Time to seriously prep for what's coming. Darnell Wood, bless you. Corey J, how do I join a mag when I'm surrounded by people that think I'm paranoid? I'm in St. Louis, Missouri. Well, there's definitely people around St. Louis that wouldn't think that you're paranoid, because we recently did a training in Indianapolis, and there were a lot of people from the St. Louis area. I also know people in the St. Louis area that wouldn't think you're paranoid. And so I think really what you need to do is expand your network. You're bumping into the wrong kind of people. You need to bump into the right kind of people. Find new people. Devin, exactly right.
Everyone on, or the people on each side of you, or the people on your street might think you're paranoid, but you expand your area a bit and focus where you're looking for, what you're looking for.
Blaster Man bought a cabin. Awesome. Fortner's Frontier Leather. What's up, man?
How do you do that?
Tommy Salter.
I mean,
yeah, you do that, but how do you do that?
Got a Billy Goat today.
So
This is good.
expand
Awesome.
to, check out the forums, Bear Independent, because there are people in the Bear Nation that are from that area. If you're of similar faith as us, look at 119.
119.
Ministries
Yep.
Fellowship Finder.
Yep.
As well as you can, if you're still on the Book of Faces, then you can. There's going to be some sort of social group for people of that type.
There's literally Torah homesteading on it.
Right. Yeah.
What's up, Billy Hill? Awesome. Brain Buckets by Billy. I can see 1, 2. Oh, you moved yours? Chug it. Let's get super tactical, boys and gerbils. Let's get super tactical.
I got hamsters, no gerbils. No gerbils are.
There we go. All right. I'm ready to do this. Hold on. There we go.
Yeah.
Good to go. Hey, what's up, Reese, Lima, Charlie? Is Brain Buckets by Billy on here? Boris Karkov, yes, he's on here. He's also on here.
Bless you, brother. I just got that one. It is amazing.
Yeah, for sure. Here, let's put a little light on. There we go. Perfect. Ah!
That was a bad joke.
My wife is throwing chickens at me.
Incoming tactical
Just
chicken.
gotta hit the helmet.
That's what I call fast food.
Where we're starting tonight, huh?
Oh, man.
Oh, my morning got started by him telling me he lied to
Sam's
me
growing
my whole
strawberries
life.
for you.
But
Sam's got
this
strawberries
was
for me?
made in
Perfect. She was saying, I said from here to there, because I was range finding a chicken. I said from here to the chicken's ass is 30.8 yards. And she said, there's no way, it's not that far. I said, honey, you can't tell distance. You're not good with measurements. And she looks at me like, what? Why? And I said, yeah, it's because as long as I've known you, I've been telling you that this is 8 inches. And she lost it. So I saw Magic Prepper about your boo-boo kit for sale. That's cool. I had no idea. Good job, Magic Prepper. Awesome. I think Magic Prepper is sub to us. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure they are. So, Sanctified Supply Co. Got to use that on your wife. That's right, Anthony. That's what it's for. Go use your 8 inches, buddy. Hi, Bonnie. Hey, Magic Prepper's here. What's up, Magic Prepper? Hey, I just got here. Thanks for talking about our boo-boo kit. We appreciate that. We've got, I got some churro. I got one in black.
Yeah, you haven't really talked about.
I haven't really talked about them, no, because I told the patrons about them. Got one here in red.
The patrons, you totally like.
I got one here in coyote, and I've got one here in olive drab. Right here, the boo boo kit. Now, listen, I get it. We're not gonna delve into the world of ShamWow just yet. But if you're like, I want a $4 boo boo kit, this is not the boo boo kit for you. If you're like, I want a comprehensive made in America guaranteed forever boo-boo kit, we got you, bro, because that's what we do. So, yeah, he could have used one. Those are awesome. Oki's Boss. What's up, Oki's Boss? I'm going to review the bear fact on my new channel, Modern Frontiersman, here soon. Got some combat experience to refer to about it. That's awesome, bro. Hey, send me a link when you got your channel up and running, or if you already have your channel up and running, we will 100% hook you up, bro. Fortner's Frontier Leather has been with us a long time and makes awesome leather works. Really, really good stuff. So if you need leather works, check them out. And we don't, much like Billy Hill and Brain Buckets by Billy, like nobody pays me to say nice things about these people. They're just good people with excellent products. So check them out, man. Miss Hermit Hill, was going on? We all need some new patches added to the store, please. All right, Aaron. And hey, NWA Prepper, did you get the invite to the party?
He did not answer mine. There's a lot of people.
Renee said you didn't answer the invite to the party. The only
Frontier Leather should email that link to admin at Bear and Pin.
What?
Is that correct?
I don't know. Yes.
Yeah. Email that link to admin at Bear Independent so that we can start posting it. Because I know you can't put links in the chat. So
yeah, well, I can. If you shot 545, I'd be tempted to offer a sealed spam can for Bear Fag just to see the reaction. Yeah, man, I've got 0 platforms that run 545. Although I appreciate that. Where's Kyle? Kyle from for normal people. I have to talk to the boss still. Roger that, NWA Prepper. Roger that.
Shalom, sanctified.
Ozark's altruistic. Shalom, brother.
Shalom, brother.
Oh, Biden's here. What's up, Biden? Hey, watch those stairs. They'll get you. You be careful going up and down those stairs, sir. Yeah.
Don't let them over-medicate you.
Yeah, well, also, you're doing a great job as a hologram. I've been really impressed. Anyway, but I digress. I just caught a honeybee swarm while listening to Bear. Good job, Jerry. That would be a problem for me. I'd be dead. But yeah, good times. Good times. Blasterman is going to be completely off-grid and mobile. All right, do it. What are you weirdos up to? What's up, Arkansas 11? Just sitting here talking trash about you, but now that you showed up, I guess we got to behave ourselves.
What are we going to talk about now?
Biden sniffing hair?
Okay.
I mean, do we even need to talk about that? Everybody knows. It's like it's not a thing, right? What's up, Bear Engine? Travis, passed on the teachings from Indy to multiple families this weekend. So grateful for the knowledge and looking forward to advancing my med training. Bless you, Refuge Medical and Bear Nation. Bless you, awesome, brother. Travis. Hey, and what's up, Zub Zub? Good to see you, man. I love, like, one of the things that's so cool about doing the trainings is I know a lot of these people who are here in the chat now. Yeah. Like, got to meet them, spend time with them, like lay your hands on them, teach them. You know, it's wonderful, man. You put a face to the name. yeah, it's one of the things that keeps me going because it makes it real. Like, I love knowing that there's real people.
Yeah.
Cub Kit Pro on my kit will be in music videos released next week. Awesome, man. That's awesome. What's up, Rufus? You should be so lucky to mentor Creepy Joe. I don't know. I don't know about all that. I'm not really saying I'd be open to the invitation. What's up, Justin Riddlin? It done got me too many chickens. Well, you solved that problem the same way you solved the rabbit problem, but there's an additional step. Rather than feeding the rabbit to your dog, you feed the chicken to yourself. So, what are the best egg layers? That's a really good question. I like Australorps, good egg producers, Rhode Island Reds, New Hampshire Reds, Barred Rocks are all good egg producers. And good dual use birds as well. Although we get a good amount of eggs from our Freedom Rangers as well. So asymmetrical preparedness. What's up, brother? There's a channel. If you're not sub to, you should be sub to. That guy has an awesome work ethic, puts out good information every day. So asymmetrical preparedness.
Richard, we have not yet posted a class in Arizona.
Not yet. And somebody said Northern Illinois. We've not done that either. Your laws make me a little I saw my order is being delivered tomorrow. Quick shipping lately. QRF, bless you, bro. Still heartbroken. I missed you in Cartersville. College and family kind of kept me away too long to register. It's all good, man. We will be back to the Cartersville area.
Yeah, it's crunchy.
Which produce more pounds of eggs overall, ducks or chickens? I don't know, but ducks have been a major pain in the butt when we've had them. Ducks destroy their water. They make everything dirty. They make a lot of noise. They're quite noisy. And I much prefer the taste of chicken to duck, and I'd much rather clean a chicken than clean a duck. So duck eggs are more of a delicacy. I know Rowans, which is the breed that we had, are supposed to lay up to 200 eggs a year, but we didn't really see that out of them. And they're also supposed to be meat birds, and the meat was not very good, honestly. And I tried several different ways of preparing it, and I was unimpressed. And they're loud, and they're obnoxious, and they make a mess, and chickens are just way easier than ducks.
Be Oily, we have a Tallahassee, Florida class up in the store right now. Go to refugetraining.com.
Be Oily needs a Tallahassee class?
It's like, when you come to Florida.
There you go.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Johnson, ever thought of an ankle kit? Yes, we have thought of an ankle kit. In fact, we were kicking it around. And right about the same time that we were kicking it around, John Lovell from Warrior Poet Society came out with his ankle kit. And so I didn't see a point in us producing an ankle kit when he produced an ankle kit. I'm not trying to compete head-to-head against Lovell. And, you know, I mean, what would be in there? You need a tourniquet. You need some compact chest seals. You need something for wound packing and a fold flat trauma bandage and a decompression needle. And you've got massive bleeding. You've got airway. You've got respiratory, circulation, head injuries, hypothermia are all secondary at that point, working the March algorithm. So what's that?
So you educating people without them knowing?
That might have been some low-key education right there. Yeah.
An SOB kit on your ankle.
An SOB kit on my ankle? Yeah, I mean, if you have duct tape, all kits are ankle kits. You guys need to just quit slacking, you know? Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, man. Are you talking about guineas for ducks? You described both. Yeah, Tommy, exactly. Ducks are the guineas of egg-laying things. They're just terrible. Are coffee filters effective to prep the water for a Berkey? Well, it depends on what kind of water you have. Just use a couple of turds. There you go.
Sure, Vicky.
You have something that would fit like a dangler pouch for a chest rig, Dudley? Oh, you're talking to Dudley? Dudley, he wants to know about your danglies. Oklahoma Survival wants to know about your danglies. It's kind of weird.
Yeah,
I don't
know if you talk about my ZT.
I mean, there's 360 people here, and we're going to talk about your dangles, bro. It's whatever. Texas tea. Shalom. There's Mrs. Lovely Dudley. Man. Don't piss off Miss Lovely Dudley.
Yeah.
The Pope keeps an IFAC and a bug out bag in that giant hat. That's funny. I would love to live stream with you. Dude, let's do it. Let's do it, man. Asymmetrical preparedness. If you don't currently have my phone number, I know you have my email. Let's set it up. Let's do that. I'd love to do that. More talk about the soapy nuts. No, I don't think my wife has lathered her nuts lately. Honey, have you lathered your nuts lately?
She's been too busy filling orders.
She's been too busy filling orders to lather any nuts lately. I will email you. Thanks. Absolutely, brother. Let's do it. I'm 100% in.
Are you familiar with Bone Tactical?
Yes, I'm familiar with Bone Tactical.
He was asking.
Oh, who was asking?
Right there in the middle. Hey, bro.
Hey, bro. I've been wanting to ask you, but you think about Bone Tactical. Greg Tambone, dude makes very nice edge weapons, but they're not cheap. So I'm familiar with him, but not overly familiar with him. I'll tell you this. Weapons and really anything of any quality is not cheap. Cheap, fast, and good. You can have two of the three. Pick, right? And so, dude, the bear knives. The bear knives. We just got 3 more knives from Fleming Fabrications, and they were gone that fast because we only ever post them on Patreon.
They've never made it.
They've never made it past. Let's see. The first time was 36 minutes. They sold out in 36 minutes. And then the second time was 25 minutes. But I didn't know there were 3 different listings. I only posted the one.
The crazy thing is none of us can afford them.
Yeah, and I have one, but I can't afford it. Travis at Fleming Fabrications sent it to me as a thank you. But they're absolutely gorgeous knives. They
are.
Hey, grab that bag right there, if you would, please. Just drag the bag over.
Hey, what's the?
Thank you. There's a handful of knives in here. You may see a video in the near future. A Mora, a Rat. Oh, I'm sorry, an SE4. A Rat 3, a Rat 5, an SE6, and I didn't plan it this way. It was all the way in the back though, and a bear knife. The bear knife. Get a little bit of surface rust on this. You could tell I was out in the rain using it because I was. I have to clean that off because we use the things. I wonder if it'll still shave.
I'm betting yes.
It's
an exceptional knife.
I have never sharpened this, and I have used it in the woods many a time, and it still shaves. This thing is exquisite, but it's $450. I don't have $450 for a knife. And like I said, thankfully, Travis at Fleming Fabrications sent me this one, so I didn't have to spend $450 on it. But acid etched bear logo, 800 grit mirror polish, 1-inch bevels. It's phenomenal. Try your beard. Yep. So, but getting back to Bone Tactical, it will kill.
It's copyrighted. I said trademark or whatever.
But getting back to Bone Tactical, I don't know. I'm not terribly familiar with his products, but I will tell you this. Cheap is not good. You know, our first aid kits are not cheap, but they're phenomenal. So you really, let's have a quick conversation about this. There's 3 metrics in any sale that you need to be concerned with, okay? So there's cost, which is what does it cost? We'll just say this. Ontario Knife Company, we're at 3. What does it cost to produce this knife? Okay. That's the labor and materials, the branding, the marketing, the inventory, everything that goes into being able to produce this knife. What does it cost to produce it? The cost is not what you pay. That's what the company incurs to be able to provide this knife to you. The next is, what is the price? The price is the cost plus the profit that the company wants to earn by bringing this product to market. So cost is what the company incurs. Price is what you incur when you choose to. Modern frontiersman, bless you. Thank you. So price is what you pay, what you incur when you choose to voluntarily to do business with that company. Value is subjective, but it is, do you feel that you paid a price that was fair? And when the value factor exceeds the price factor, the company generates sales. When the client, the customer, feels like they're getting as much or more than what they paid for, then the company will sell a product. And so this is a $50 knife, right? And it's a great $50 knife. This is a $100 knife, the SE4. This is a $200 knife, the SE6. This is a $450 knife. So where's the value in this? The cost is probably comparable. Now it's a small shop, but we'll just say comparable materials and labor to the SE6. Okay. The price is obviously much higher, 2.5 times, 2.25 times the price of an SE6. Where the value comes in is that there's scarcity. Scarcity breeds value, and it's custom, and it's a small business that you're supporting, right? And so those are the 3 different metrics in a transactional relationship. The cost is what the company incurs to bring the product to market. The price is what you pay. Your barrier to entry, that's what you pay. And then the value is, do you feel like you got as much or more for your money than you should have gotten? And so when value exceeds price, the company makes sales. So I don't know Bone Tactical. I don't know their equipment. I've never had my hands on it, but it wouldn't surprise me if they make good equipment that it has a high price, but it should also, therefore, if it has a high price, it should be high value. You know, a Bear Fat costs $229. We're not shy about that. Find me a better kit. So,
well, and not just the kits, but also the training. We've had multiple people come, actually a majority of people come through our class who have taken a Stop the Bleed class before and said, I've never taken a Stop the Bleed class like this.
Right.
We have people who have taken multiple different Stop the Bleed courses, and they're like, this is something of a whole, this is entirely different. It is still a Stop the Bleed class, but you actually get that value from it.
Right. And that's a great point. And then that becomes what's called your value proposition.
Exactly.
What do you bring to the table? Why should I spend my money with you rather than with somebody else? And so this turned into a business consultation, but that's cool. We have a lot of small businesses here, and we have, what's up?
But I thought you were the ShamWow guy.
No, the ShamWow guy just wants you to buy stuff. I'm teaching people. Okay. I'm teaching people. Little business consult here. March algorithm, value proposition, cost, price, value. Does the Stop the Bleed also help with the CPR cert? We have CPR, AED, and Stop the Bleed class, an 8-hour curriculum that does all 3, and you'll be certified on all 3. But wait, there's more. That's exactly right, Lone Star Living. Order now, and you'll get a second one for just shipping and handling, which is $9,000. Yeah, the shipping is always ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like I got this thing for $9.99 at 3:00 in the morning after a couple too many margaritas, and the shipping was $87.
Yeah.
Perfect. Best used EDC compact tractor for a homestead. Mow, sow, dig, and knock down. Say budget friendly. Jeff, I don't know, man. That's something that I've been looking for myself. But I'll tell you, I'm looking in the 40 to 50 horse range because the smaller ones, the 20 to 30 horse, really don't have a lot going on. About the smallest I'd probably consider to be like a 38 horse. Because if you're going to run a brush hog or you're going to run a tiller or even a mowing deck, just a 26 horse motor in one of those small tractors, that's what my riding lawnmower has. So I don't want a riding lawnmower masquerading as a tractor. I want a tractor. So I'm sitting here thinking everyday carry tractor. Exactly. Being a farmer, old iron is insane cost now. Yeah, it is everywhere, dude. Everything is really expensive right now. Concur with 40 horsepower minimum. Thank you, Rocky. There you go. Yes, carbon steel. Wow, we are way overkill with the 110. We're using 138 acres. Not necessarily. Do a class in South Dakota. I may, if I go to the Dakotas, it might be North Dakota because I'm going to go see Rex. That's going to happen. So, yep. Get an old Oliver. Nothing on the planet is more reliable. Any info on Stop the Bleeding in Springfield, Missouri? Need to learn to decompress someone's chest. Well, Keith, interestingly enough, we don't teach you that at the 4-hour Stop the Bleed class. We discuss the decompression needle, but I cannot teach you, law enforcement, firefighters, EMS, military, anybody under current law how to use a decompression needle unless you have funny letters after your name. The Dallas class was amazing. However, yes, as Renee said, you can YouTube it. Tractor or skid steer first? That's a great question. A skid steer is going to allow you to shape the earth, and bear with me, okay? Generalities here. A skid steer is going to allow you to do dirt work. A tractor is going to allow you to work the dirt. So if you need to do grading, if you need to put in driveways, if you need to build pads, anything like that, moving material with the bucket, then a skid steer is, or track loader or anything else, heavy equipment is what you want. If you want to work the earth, not do earth work, if you want to work the earth, if you want to plant, you want to till, you want to sow, all of that, then you need a tractor. And so you need to ask yourself on the particular piece of land that you're getting on, what is it that you need to do when you get there?
Look at Oki with the links.
Just bought an 80-horse John Deere, 57 years old, and asked why it's higher now than new. The reason is because the equivalent is 6 times the cost for the same horsepower. Yeah, that's ridiculous. Hey, what's up, Hans? Saturday class was amazing. 8-hour class is next. Well, I guess you meant Sunday class because we don't do Saturday classes. But James, good to know.
Probably
Or maybe
Friday.
Or maybe Friday. Yeah.
Mom's had a birthday.
James
Missed
was in
it because it was.
Yeah. Plus, skid steers you can rent for not much. That's exactly right. Yep. Thank you for the reply. Hoping to attend your Pittsburgh class in July, but my second little girl is due 7/2 to 7/4. Hoping it doesn't conflict. Well, yeah. I mean, I would love for you to come to class, but I think you should probably be there when your kid is born. Just saying. If you want your wife to be there when you get back from class, I would maybe be there when the kid is born.
And don't bring the wife because we don't teach that either.
I don't know.
You know, Kyle, I actually disagree. A tractor can do everything a skid steer can with a loader plus more, maybe not as handy. I disagree. First of all, a track skid steer greatly outweighs a wheeled skid steer for off-road. And the buckets on tractors, even the new buckets, fly-by-wire stuff, electric over hydraulic, aren't nearly as sensitive and good, and the floats aren't as good on a tractor as with a skid steer. And the center of gravity is lower on a skid steer. The maneuverability is better on a skid steer. The track time, being able to move back and forth, is better on a skid steer. Visibility is better. Diesel consumption is actually lower on these newer units. And so if you're doing dirt work, and this is just me, okay? I had tractors growing up, but I also had heavy equipment growing up. And I've been operating yellow iron since I can remember. There's pictures of me at 3 and 4 years old sitting on my dad's lap running dozers. I've been doing it my whole life. When it's time to move dirt, you want dirt work equipment. When it's time to work the dirt, you want dirt working equipment. And those two are in very different categories for very good reasons. Can you convey rock out of a rock pile to dress a driveway with a bucket on a loader bucket on a tractor? Absolutely. Can you move manure and get scoops of dirt and do all that? Absolutely. Is it near as effective as a skid steer or a wheel loader or a track loader? Not even close.
I like the way Seth put it. I'm paraphrasing what he said, but essentially, this is a tractor.
Yeah.
It's a multi-tool. It does everything in a mediocre manner.
Yep.
So yes, you can move dirt with it, but you will have a much better time moving dirt with a skid steer.
That's a good point. I mean, and to be clear, I don't even like backhoes. If I have to dig, I want a track hoe. If I need to move dirt, I want a wheel loader. I'll use a backhoe if it's the only thing I can get, but I don't even like backhoes because they're mediocre at digging and they're mediocre at loading. So
I would much rather have a fixed blade knife than the knife on my Leatherman, but I can get by with a knife on my Leatherman if I, for a little task, if I have to. Same, I'd rather have a full-size screwdriver that I can pull out the Phillips head on my Leatherman and get to work. If I, in a pinch, if I had to.
Alabama bushwhacker, we don't use pluckers. We've plucked all of ours by hand, and so it makes for a very busy day. Pluckers are awesome, but we don't have one, so I can't speak to that. Everything you can do, I can do better. I can do everything better than you. No, you can't. Prove it, Boba Fett. Prove it. East Tennessee Preparedness. Good evening, Bear Nation. Just saw the notification on Patreon. Fabulous. By the way, shout out to all the patrons. I asked them if we should live stream, and they said yes, and so now we're here. So if they had said no or there had been a mediocre response, we wouldn't have done this. So shout out to the patrons. And it's the best time of the month to become a patron. So if you have considered supporting the show before, patreon.com, search for Bear Independent. You'll find us. It's like $1 a month or $10 a year to get started. So track loader with a backhoe. There you go. Sawmill recommendation and using alternate power. If you're trying to run a sawmill on renewable energy, you're going to need a lot of batteries. You'd be better off getting one that's got a combustion engine on it, diesel or gasoline. Doug Bucher, Roger. Don't regret being a Patreon. So worth it, dude. Thanks, Oklahoma Survival. I appreciate that. Patreon is absolutely worth the money. Thank you. We do a lot at Patreon.
We do.
Yep.
Hans Hammond had a question.
Homestead?
Yeah.
Hans. You have to say Hans.
Oh, Hans.
Hans.
You had a month-long period of abstaining from alcohol when you were camping solo a lot. I'm curious what lessons you had learned during that period.
Month-long abstention from alcohol. Lessons learned.
He's talking about your Nazarite vow.
Yeah.
And then during that Nazarite vow, you went and spent some time in the woods impromptu.
Yeah.
Ice storm.
Yeah. Lessons learned. Well, so there's two angles here. The first is the Nazarite vow is a spiritual thing. Much like fasting, we're not supposed to fast for no reason. We're supposed to fast for spiritual reasons. And so Nazarite vow is a form of fasting. It's not just no alcohol, but it's nothing, no grapes, nothing from the seed of grape, the skin of a grape, none of that. And you don't cut your hair. And if you're looking for that, you can find it in Numbers chapter 6. And in fact, Paul does it in the New Testament to prove to his Yehudim brothers that, hey, look, man, I'm still one of you guys. And for those asking the cigar brand, this is a Man of War Ruination right there. And so spiritually, there's always a lot of revelation when I'm under a Nazarite vow. I feel close, like materially, physically close to the Father. And I feel like he gives me things to do during that time period, if that makes sense. And in fact, the Nazarite vow unstipulated is a minimum of 30 days, but I'll ask him, hey, am I done yet? And he'll say, yeah, you're done, or no, you're not done. Okay, copy that. Ulfanar tribesman, shalom, brother. And so, spiritual side, it's just an acknowledgement of who's in charge, the Father is, and why was I made, and what am I supposed to be doing?
And we are called to be set apart, and the Nazarite vow is a vow of set apart. So when it comes to like, what am I supposed to be doing? Like it's a manifestation, a drastic manifestation of that set apartness.
Yep. And then on the material side, like, man, if you can camp out in 34 degrees in an ice storm with a tarp and a bedroll, and really for me, it's an exercise in stoicism. If I can lay under this tarp on my bedroll, drinking coffee that I just made on this fire that I built in the ice storm, reading my Bible, and be happy, I can be happy anywhere. And it's a reset. It's a reminder that, you know, sometimes you do need to sleep on the hard ground.
Yep.
Sometimes you do need to be reminded that all these things that you're bitching about are blessings. Get your head right. Get your perspective right. And so,
stay comfortable with being uncomfortable.
For sure.
Yeah.
And we overemphasize comfort and convenience as human beings, as Americans. And we do the same thing a lot of times with our faith. You know, we can all easily delve into box checker mentality no matter where we are on the path. And so the Nazarite vow is a reset there. Thanks, Phelps. So, yeah, good question. Bear, what is your favorite book in the Bible? Mine is probably Daniel. I like that. I like Titus. I like James a lot. James is very practical. Hans, bless you, man.
As you first told me, it's practical, tactical.
Yeah.
I tell you, since rediscovering my faith and reading the Word with no other filters through it, just reading the Word for what it is, James is an impactful book, man. It just grabs you.
Yeah. I love James. It's so plainly spoken. Later, Florida man. So, you know, a lot of people love the epistles of Paul, Shaul of Tarsus, you know, Romans, Galatians, Ephesians, Colossians, right? And there's wonderful wisdom in there. Shaul was just awesome in power and spirit and understanding and trying to articulate to these people who had no foundational relationship with the Father the expectation that they should have through Yeshua, through Jesus, through Messiah, but also the expectation that the kingdom has for them, which is, most people, don't even get me started on that. Most people don't understand that there's an expectation, that it's a two-way street, right? But Paul will take 2 or 3 chapters sometimes to get to the point of one point, to make one point, versus James is like, you gotta do this, this is how you do it, right? And like, you read like Titus, right? Titus is another one like that. First Peter, I love First Peter, very plainly spoken. And so while I love the nuance of Shaul, of Paul, I also love just the plain speak of James and Timothy and Titus, and you know,
there are, well, and the Word tells us there's time and place for everything. You know, there's seasons for everything. But there are times when I need to delve into the Word, and I do that. But there are other times when I just need some direct communicate, like direction, clear, precise direction, and that is James, Titus, First Peter, absolutely.
How about
James and First Peter?
How about Proverbs? To me, Proverbs is EDC for life. We've actually been doing the daily Proverbs, So,
If anyone on the stream has not put it together, there are 31 chapters in Proverbs. There's no more than 31 days in any month. So you can read a proverb every day.
Yeah, and a lot of times, well, we were playing catch up at first, so we were doing 2 or 3 a day, and so right now we're doing the proverb of the day and then Genesis. And man, in 2 or 3 weeks, we've made it all the way to Genesis 7. 'Cause, what's up?
A good kit from the store for members of a search and rescue team.
Oh, search and rescue team.
They get with us on a custom.
Yeah, I'd say get with us on a custom kit, but probably so the stomp bag is incredibly comprehensive, but it's heavy. It's going to be 32 pounds curb weight, and so depending on how much hiking you're doing and where you're doing it, how much searching and rescuing you're doing, you can handle pretty much any casualty once you find the person, but it's 32 pounds of weight. And so I'd say start at an adventure kit, because that adventure kit does everything from bullet holes and boo-boos to broken bones, right? But you may be better served with a custom kit. In fact, we're working up some custom kits for fire department right now that are kind of like a combination between a stomp bag, which is SEAL Team Operational Medical Pack, like a stomp light, coupled with a little bit of a MAC 4, which is a mass casualty kit. So lots of gauze, lots of gloves, chest seals, decompression needles, airways for respiratory and airway, and then your bleeding control stuff, wound packing and pressure bandages and tourniquets. But then C-spine collars, litters, SAM splints, cohesive bandages, lots of tape, ACE bandages, small gauze, your 2x2s, 3x3s, 4x4s, iPads, eye shields, stuff like that. Because a lot of those injuries aren't, think about it. You find somebody that's got a compound fracture, as long as they don't have profuse bleeding, what are you going to do? You're not going to set it. You're going to splint that. You're going to cover it up, splint that thing, and get them from where they are to where they need to be. And so it's not real in-depth medicine, but you gotta have the stuff. And so a stomp bag would probably be what I would want on a search and rescue team, knowing I actually recently just rucked 3 miles with the stomp bag. And while I was rucking 3 miles with the stomp bag, I told my wife, I said, we're going to make a stomp light for real. Because for just this reason, because the stomp bag is awesome if you have 12 to 14 guys that you need to be worried about. If you're going in overland after 1, 2, even 4 casualties, the stomp bag can be a bit of overkill. And so in the meanwhile, I'd say get with us on a custom kit, but we're very likely going to put together a stomp light as well, that would have about the same capabilities but half the volume of a stomp bag. So the tiptoe, I like that.
Like a Mac 4 and
That's awesome.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that.
Also, Zell, yes, the Psalms are amazing, and 119 is an amazing chapter for a couple to study together. Absolutely.
I like reading the Psalms in context of David's life.
Right.
So when you realize what he had going on when he wrote that psalm,
Right.
it's like, wow. Okay, like Psalms 51 was written after the child that he first conceived with Bathsheba was taken by Yah. And he confesses his sin. He cleans himself after fasting for a week because his soul was crushed, goes and bows himself before Yahweh. And then, he admits his sin, he teshuvahs, he turns. Then he writes this beautiful psalm about the forgiveness and how badass the Torah is.
And that gets back to read it from beginning to end. You'll understand all of it better if you're not just cherry picking verses out or cherry picking chapters.
Ben, bless you, man. Western slope of Colorado, maybe. We're constantly, I don't know if you've noticed, but we've branched out into a lot of different markets currently with training. And so, yes, let's say we'll look at doing a Western Colorado class.
Hey, Ben, email sales@refugetraining.com. And Dudley, if you can hit the link on that if you're in the chat still.
Yep.
Sales@refugetraining.com. If you have a number of people you already know are going to want to take the course, that will that will help us get that established. Okay, because there's lots of people wanting us to do courses in their areas, and we're trying to prioritize where we're going to do courses next.
Joey Jones, I put together a 511 Rush 72 bag, set up as a medical bag for longer term with surgical capability, IV kits with saline, antibiotics, the IFAC contents. Yeah, that's basically what's in our stomp bag. That's good to go, bro.
And that's how your first bear kit and IFAC and the bear fac and the bare minimum and all, that's how all that came about. It's like, hey, nobody else is doing this. So I'm gonna grab this stuff and I'm gonna put it together. I'm gonna make a kit that is actually good. And so it sounds like he's done the same thing with his own. And I had done the same thing. Remember when I got here, I had my IFAC and I had like 2 components that you didn't have in yours, and your kit had 2 components mine didn't have in yours. Yours did. But I had done the same thing, and that's an excellent way to approach it.
Tisha Mingo
don't have the knowledge to do that though.
How's the garden doing so fat this year? Well, so far this year, the garden is doing well. We've gotten a lot of rain. A lot of rain. We got more in the forecast, unfortunately, but our grapes have come up and our fruit trees are budding. And other than the potatoes, potatoes don't really seem to be coming up.
They need to get moved.
They need to get moved. But cucumbers are doing good. Peppers and tomatoes are doing good. Onions are doing well. The horseradish, which we transplanted with a shovel, it was like yay big around the root ball, and the horseradish is doing awesome. And I'm very pleased to see the grapes doing great as well. That's because they were questionable last year. They may or may not have gotten accidentally attacked by a weed whacker. And so to see them thriving this year is awesome. Shalom, Aaron Martin.
That's never happened to anyone.
Nobody's ever weed whacked their grapes before. People don't do that.
I've weed whacked an AC power line before.
Have you?
Hit the wire and AC went out.
Nice.
I used to have a strawberry patch, and I've weed whacked an entire strawberry patch, not realizing it.
Yeah.
Strawberry patch, mean it was like 6 inches wide from the edge of the wall. And
Hey, are you gonna ask
Ask what?
about the note?
Oh. Yeah, Dragon Shield 1776. Where you at, man? Where you at, man? I think you're on Patreon. If you are, you need to comment on Patreon. Dragon Shield 1776. Speaking of rain, any tips for grading property and when to do it? So that's a great question. Do it in the summer when it's dry. Do not do it when it's wet, because mud does not compact. You make a mess no matter what kind of equipment you're using. And how to do it is not something I can explain to you on a live stream. But essentially water runs downhill. So if you can't make the things that you're putting up higher, you need to grade the land so that the water runs. You need to create a slope to slope water away from the things that you don't want to get wet. And a good thing to do here is to experience 1, 2, several rains on property and see where the water stands and how it runs, and then accentuate, if you can, where it's already running. So encourage it to continue to go in that direction away from wherever you are. So.
No.
They do. There is a plug that comes right behind it. See right there? That just needs plugged in there.
Around here, if we graded our property in the summer, we would be in a dust storm until snow started flying in the winter. Well, that's another thing you can do, Anthony, is keep the soil wet. Don't make mud, but wet the soil down. We do that all the time in construction. If the soil's dry, you just spray it with water. Many moons ago, I weed whacked my natural gas line with my hole auger. Damn gas company marked the area way incorrectly. Yeah, I did that. I hit a 4-inch high pressure gas main with a 35-ton track hoe because the locate mark was 15 feet in the wrong place.
Did you call 811?
I called 911. I called 811 beforehand. They located the gas line, and then I was digging very carefully, and one of the teeth just skimmed across the top of the HDPE 4-inch high pressure gas main,
Oh, great.
and it went pee, and you can't see the gas because it's clear, but you could see the mirage of the gas coming, and I was like, son of a mother, and immediately turned the machine off, hopped out, called 911. Fire department came, and the gas company was really pissed until I pointed at the yellow locate mark 15 feet off center of where I was digging. And the 811 lady came out and she was like, yep, I totally put that mark there. I was like, good, not my fault. Fix it. Fix it. Yeah. So, corn-fed, I will send you some rain. Sounds good.
Badger is a rock farmer of the Ozarks. There's a lot of rocks in the Ozarks.
Have you got to use those IV sets yet we traded for? Nope, haven't needed to. Clay can take Avalon usually. Missed the main by an inch on a site. Then went and changed my shorts. Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it. Where is Cody Willis tonight? I don't know. Where is Cody Willis tonight? Cody, are you out there, Cody? Damn, I'm a locator. I feel that. Yeah. Ted?
I think it's the bug light that is replaced.
You can just take the charger out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You just, like, Christmas
Doug Bucher,
vacation,
bless
put
you.
20 out and send to one.
What's the best advice for starting a flock of sheep? Good fences. Keep an eye on them. There you go. Keep an eye on them. Good fences. Good breeding stock. They need water. They need shelter. They need food. And they need security. Predation is the thing. I would go ahead. I would understand the rule of the 4 S's, which was taught to us by our veterinarian, and that is that sick sheep seldom survive. So they pretty much they're pretty hardy until they're not. And so usually by the time you find a sick sheep, they're very sick. And so if you have a sheep that's very sick, you need to understand that you're either going to the vet or you're digging a hole. This has been my experience. We've never had one that was very sick and then miraculously made it. We've had ones that were very sick, we didn't take to the vet, and they died soon after. We've had ones that were very sick, we took to the vet, but still died. And we've had ones that were very sick, we took to the vet, and they made a miraculous turnaround after getting to the vet. But my vet looked me straight in the eyes and said, rule of the 4 S's. Sick sheep seldom survive. If you want me to spend the time, you're going to spend the money and I will work on this thing, but understand that it's probably a 50-50 chance. Hoof health matters, but if you get a breed like a Katahdin where they have access to rocks or gravel, their hooves will self-trim. And a little bit of sweet feed makes the meat so much better than if you're just running them on grass. And so if the idea is to eat these things, if that's why you're getting sheep, sweet feed rocks. The meat is way tastier. It's a higher fat content. So, Sean Penrod, do you have any updates in the prepper classroom? You know, that's something I've been thinking about. Currently, no, but I would welcome your input in an organized format, meaning like email us. Because it's a pretty comprehensive list of things that I think are introductory level preparedness. In fact, I reposted a video today on Patreon from 2019, January 21st, 2019, an overview of 10 different things. And I realized while listening back to that video that more than half of what I discussed was kind of intermediate to advanced preparedness. It was not basic level preparedness. And that was 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago. And I know that there's a lot of new people to preparedness, which is why we made the prepper classroom. But the idea there is to stick to the basics as much as we can about what you need to know if you're new to prepping. However, other side of that coin, we could probably make a prepper classroom 201, 301, more advanced concepts. But I haven't really sat down and figured out, put any real thought to what that curriculum would look like. Because I have a normalcy bias. I know what I know. You don't know what I know. And that's not bravado. It's just, in fact, it's the other side of things where I take for granted what I know. I just assume that everybody else knows what I know too. And therefore I don't value it very highly. So shalom all you blue wrenches. So I haven't really put any real thought to what would we continue to teach in the prepper classroom. So,
All right, so
James McAdams, hi, what's up, bro?
here's a question I'm pretty sure I know the answer. I know the answer to, but someone asked, do you think that in the next few months we're going to experience another round of shortages?
I think we're experiencing them now, but it's being artificially tamped down by increased prices and things that are experiencing shortages. And so
Look at the wood.
Yeah, so we're playing the supply and demand game right now.
Artificial or real.
Yeah, artificial or real supply and demand game. So yeah, absolutely, I do.
And then another viewer asked a question that might send you off on a tangent, but they said, why store up things like food, whatnot? Is our faith, and they said is our faith so small?
How can I answer this without sounding like an asshole?
No, I mean, there is tons of scriptural. There's tons of scriptural direction to
those are frogs.
storehouses. To have storehouses, and that Yah is the reason that we're able to fill them. Like, okay, so we're prepping, but our preps are not in substitution of our faith. Our faith and the execution of our faith in our daily walk and our walk of righteousness and works is what allows us to fill those storehouses. Right?
The phrase food scarcity is in the Bible 87 times. Matthew 24, obviously New Testament, the Gospel of Matthew. In Matthew 24, Messiah is talking about in the end times, there will be wars and rumors of wars, and nation will rise against nation, and kingdom will rise against kingdom, and there will be pestilence and food scarcities and earthquakes in diverse places. And all these are the beginning of the birth pains. And so first of all, I think fundamentally, it's an incorrect assumption that the Father's people would be spared from hardship. That is not what happens in the Bible at all. And that's not what happens now. So the law of sin and death, right? Let's say you transgress the law because sin is lawlessness. 1 John 3 verse 4, Titus chapter 2, all backed up. The original sin was God said don't do this, and then they did it. They transgressed his word, and it was accounted to them for sin, right? So let me take a different tangent here. Food scarcity, faith, false teachings. You're not going to be raptured up into the sky. That's not happening. The word rapture is nowhere in the Bible. It's taught throughout the Christian church as if it's truth. It's not. It's doctrine, but it's not biblical truth. So take that, get that out of your head.
We'll be transformed in the blink of an eye.
Yep.
But it will not be before
It's after the last
Like,
Trump.
it's after
There's a whole
everything's
bunch
done.
of shit that happens before that.
You have
So-
the seals, you have the trumpets, you have all of that before that ever happens.
So next, the Father stewards his people through trials rather than them. The difference between you and the nations, assuming you are the Father's chosen people, is that he stewards you through it. The nations are disregarded. He doesn't care what happens to them. They are left to their own sins and their own lawlessness to suffer the ramifications of their actions.
Because they're going
We
to end up as bird
are
food anyways.
Right. We are stewarded through it. And so there's multiple examples throughout the Bible of people storing food. And I'll say this too. Is our faith so small? What is faith? Faith without works is dead. James, getting back to the practicality of James, you say you have faith. I will show you my faith by my works, right? So when the Father convicts me bone deep that I need to be stacking food, I do that out of faith because obedience is an overt display of faith. And by the way, delayed obedience is disobedience. Heard that from Sanctified Supply Co. and I love it. Delayed obedience is disobedience. If you know what you're supposed to be doing now, but you're not doing it because it's not convenient for you, that is disobedience. So, and the Father punishes disobedience. Make no mistake. Even of his own chosen people, he punishes disobedience. How do you know that my faith to stack food to the rafters is not going to be the thing that keeps you from starving to death? You don't. He convicted Joseph to do it.
Yep.
Right? Noah. How great was Noah's faith? Did the Father provide the ark for Noah? No, he provided the conviction for Noah.
And Ryan, you're right. Fear not. It's the Bible 300, I think you said 365 times. I don't know that for a fact, but I'll take your word for it. Fear not. Absolutely.
I'm not
But
afraid
if
of
you-
anything.
We're not talking about doing this out of fear. We're talking about doing it out of obedience and out of faith and preparation. If you want fear, go to Canadian Preppers channel.
I have to go place for that.
That is fear prepping. That is not what we do. We take reasonable, and I've heard Bear say this numerous times. Do not go max out all your credit cards to buy a bunch of food and preps and everything like that, because
Toby, yeah, amen.
that is fear prepping. Like you're
And
having
you're
a
putting
burst.
yourself into debt.
Yeah, you're putting
Mhm.
yourself into debt for one, but you're making an immediate decision and action based out of fear to try to mitigate that fear, and that's entirely different than what we're talking about. What we do prepping wise is a mindset change to be obedient to the word of Yah, and in the fact of storehouses and filling those storehouses is throughout the word, but
Shalom,
also
Zab.
in stewardship and of our families, and how to be prepared to support our neighbors. So in obedience to that, we prep as a mindset, as a lifestyle. It's not fear-based. It's not, oh, I'm scared I'm going to starve to death, so I'm going to go buy food. No, it's, I love my brother Foe, so I'm going to make sure that he doesn't starve to death.
This
Nope.
thing needs to be fed.
Aaron Martin, that's Brother Phelps. You haven't met him yet, but he's good to go, bro. He's that other guy, as other people have.
I'm sorry, I'm diluting the message here, brother.
Well, and to that point, I do not have, nor should I have, a monopoly on the Holy Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh, the Spirit of Truth. How many people, and especially people of faith, are prepping because of a bone deep conviction from the Father? And when I look at the people that are into preparedness, especially the people that we know personally, there is no lack of conviction and there is no lack of depth of relationship with our Creator on behalf of these people. And so in the mouths of 2 or 3, everything shall be established. How about in the mouths of 2 or 300, 2 or 3,000, 200,000, 300,000, or 2 or 3 million? Does it have to be established? And just because something is different or uncomfortable or we don't understand it doesn't make it wrong. And I guess lastly, my faith does not need to be justified to anybody. That's between me and my Father. And you shall know them by their fruits. And Paul says, if I'm going to boast in anything, let me boast in the things I've done with Yah. And I personally believe that our fruits we don't even need to shine a light on them. Well,
and the only reason that we do this is because there is the potential for it to the word of Yah, the Ruach, to move us to express the word of Yah to someone else who has maybe not heard of that.
Spreading the good news.
That's right.
Steve Phelps says you are the most eligible bachelor in all of Bearistan.
True.
Corey pointed out you are the only
I think
bachelor.
I'm the only one. I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm the only one.
Hey, we're betting 1,000 on
But I'll go-
helpmeets, though.
I'll go with most eligible. That sounds much nicer.
You may be like the only bachelor in all of tribe.
Yeah, I think I'm the only bachelor in all
No,
time.
there's a few others.
Are there?
Brother Cody.
Oh,
And there's others that I don't want to OPSEC on
yeah.
on live TV on the
There's one
internet.
but he only wants kangaroo people.
Yeah, this is true.
His requirement is large cankles.
Wow.
I mean, you got to know what you want.
If it's not the thing,
Cat, good night,
Of all
brother.
things.
what's your thing, Phelps?
What's your thing? Cankles?
I see the fruits in Indy. Bless you, man. Phelps looked like a bear cub sitting next to me. Well, yeah,
Let the nation know.
because to some men you will be the odor of life, and to others
She must
odor of
follow
death.
the
Yep.
word.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, faith without works is dead.
Yeah.
So there you go.
And works alone will not get you there.
Yep.
Ours both.
Yep. Better than being with the wrong ones. Smart. This country will fall. I agree. We are headed in that direction. What else we got, Bear Nation?
Lady Smith, by the way, at 2 different classes in 2 different states, I've had people talk about you to me from the chat.
Oh yeah.
Have you sorted out what's going on with Lady Smith? Yeah. And for everyone that's on the live stream, everything's good.
Good. Quixotic one. Bear or others, what is your take on tithing if you don't have a regular church? So I take a portion, 10% of my gross income, not my net, my gross income, and I put that towards good works. Like, for example, supporting Team 5. I am part of an assembly, and so I make an offering to the assembly. I also hold part of it back because the Father is always putting things in my way, in my path, and believe me, not all problems can be solved with money, and money is not the ultimate arbiter of truth. But in today's day and age, it is an inroad to solve a lot of problems. And so there's always something popping up, and that's what I do. And I just look for good people to support. I also support missionaries overseas that are involved in the rehabilitation of human trafficking survivors. So I find things that speak to me, and I pour into that with that portion.
Can I input one thing just because of the way you worded that?
Sure.
And from my personal observation, being enmeshed in y'all's lives. When he says he holds part back, when I've seen these situations come up where he's like, oh, I have to spend X number of $100 on this because y'all just told me to do this. He does not have to consult his budget. It is held back, but it is set apart.
There you go. That's what I mean by that.
I just wanted to put
Yeah.
that clarification out there because of the way you worded it.
Meek Marketing, bless you, man. I don't know if you met Dudley, but hey, Dudley, you want to say hi?
Let me get over there. Shalom.
I'm into the light.
Yeah, I guess I gotta come over to the light.
That was a great.
What's up, Meek Marketing? Shalom.
Oh man.
No, so we had someone in the Dallas class that asked us if everyone in Bear Nation was white.
Oh.
And I was
What
like,
did you tell
have
them?
you not seen Dudley? They're like, is this just like white
What about-
people?
what
And I
about
was like,
Twitz's wife,
well, yeah.
please. Yeah.
Well, and the funny thing is, Savvy was standing,
By the way,
2 feet away.
And I'm an American Indian, bro.
Yeah,
Come at me.
Bro.
Savvy's like
Care
all
more
but
about the
Cuban, and he was standing like 2 foot away. And I
Yeah.
was like, but have you not seen Dudley on any of the videos? Because
0.000.
Dudley's like a 6'2", what, like 200?
No, I'm not that tall. 6 foot.
6 foot.
Yeah,
It's the
215.
girth.
I mean 315.
315. Oh shit!
Yeah.
I told them 280. So
Yeah.
I was
I
like,
wish.
I told them you were 280 pounds of bad day.
That
Sure.
part is correct.
Yeah.
The other 35 pounds is
QRF, I don't even know where it is. I think it's on a shelf in the house. I gotta find it. Have you seen the accident report from Kentucky Ballistics? I have. I've also seen Rex's take. Not a rebuttal. It was not a rebuttal, but he added his expertise to the conversation. Savvy X was Hispanic. I thought he was New Jersey. It's the same thing.
He
It's the
is
same
New
thing.
Jersey, Yeah.
Well, he's
Um,
He's from. He lived in New Jersey,
Right.
So-
What about me?
but he's basically
No,
Cuban.
Savvy.
Oh yeah,
Savvy's
Savvy's another New
Hispanic.
Jerseyan.
Yeah, but
Is he
Savvy's
Hispanic or
basically
New
Cuban.
Jersey? Like,
Savvy's in the chat, I believe.
Yes, he
Yeah.
is.
He should be able to attest to what he is. He knows what he is.
Yeah.
So
we care more about what you think
Kentucky
about the book.
Ballistics exploding 50 cal. Yeah, I've seen his video. I've seen Ian McCollum's video at Forgotten Weapons. I've seen Rex Deborosaurus Rex's video about that, and I saw another one. Kevin, bless you, thank you, much appreciated, Kevin.
Yeah.
And I've seen another video,
Awesome, Joe.
just the thumbnail, but it was from like CRS something. or
That's the
something.
guy in Wisconsin.
Yeah, something like white dude,
Yes.
skinny white dude.
Yep.
Yeah, talking about how the Serbu is unsafe, and I believe Rex when he says that Sabo round there was a there was an obstruction of the bore because of the Sabo and he quoted some manual that you're not supposed to shoot Sabo rounds through something that has a muzzle device, and that gun very clearly had a muzzle brake, and that's what caused it to explode.
I didn't
So
even think about that. I've seen the same
yeah.
documentation. That is absolutely true. You don't see in what I was reading, it was 308 with the Sabo to it in 223.
Mhm.
But yeah, you don't do that.
Yeah.
I hadn't even thought about that though.
So I do know this. I'm going to send a kit to Scott at Kentucky Ballistics,
Yep.
and for no other reason. I want nothing out of it other than if anybody ever gets injured on his range again, nobody should have to stick their thumb in their neck to not bleed out. That's what wound packing is for. We actually cover that in all of our classes, including the 4-hour class.
It's a nice shirt, but
Yep.
gauze is better.
Yeah,
Right.
They obviously didn't have anything else.
They had nothing.
Right.
They had nothing.
Yeah.
Now, granted, it happened quick,
Well,
but that's why we train, right? That's why we train. That's why we have the equipment. So
well, and it sounded like because he did talk about the fact that they packed some gauze around it. It sounded like they had some sort of, whether it was an IFAC or a boo-boo kit or something like that. It was not equipped as it should have been.
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah, it's also funny. I
Should
later
have been
I later met
one of these with some of this quick clot rolled gauze.
that would have a
Yep.
little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Just-
Oh, yeah, severed
Just a wee
jugular.
bit. Just a wee
You
bit.
take this out, you shove it in the hole, and then you're like, well, now what can we do? We can't tourniquet that. That's what pressure dressings are for right here. You wrap that pressure dressing from here underneath the armpit and around and hold it like that. And then you give the person who's injured a job, hold your hand here. And now the blood stays inside the body because bad things happen to people when the blood comes outside of the body.
And also, one of the dirtiest parts of the body. You know, people think like the dirtiest part of the body would be like your bunghole or something, right?
It's your
No,
hands.
it's underneath your fingernails. And you're sticking that the dirtiest part of your body. You're
Yep.
sticking into the main network for commuting to your whole body.
He also had a collapsed lung.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean,
a decompression needle or a
yep, chest seal, depending on what was going on there, if it was an open or closed pneumothorax.
I'm pretty sure it was closed because of the way he described it.
Yep.
It probably ricocheted down and punctured the lung.
Yep. Yep. So,
but all the same, if he had reached a point where he was, in tension pneumothorax, then a decompression needle would have been necessary.
handmade, made in America, guaranteed forever. So yeah, I'm gonna send him one of these for no other reason than he should be on a range. If you're shooting a 50 cal or anything, you should have a way to plug bullet holes. So, and that gets back to the March algorithm. So, you know what I mean? Phelps knows what I mean.
I do. I want to reiterate, we that person brought that up in the class and about are we all white? And there are obvious to us. There are obvious distinctions from that. Like you're mostly Native American. Dudley is not white.
But I am an American. I'm not an African American.
Neither is Twitch's wife. We are Bear tribe. Like we are essentially our own nation, and it's funny if you look at it down, 1,000 years from now. Like I feel like there's gonna be like a race of us.
Well, let's go a step further here. We are children of the Most High.
That too.
My identity with my wife is she belongs to the Father, and I am blessed that I get to steward her while she's here.
Yeah.
She's not mine.
We're Israel.
I am her caretaker. She belongs to him first. And if I F that up, shame on me. Right? And so even how I view my rib, my helpmeet, my co-warrior, my wife, she belongs to him. We all belong to him. That's the unifying thing here. It's not race. It's not, where do you come from? It's not what do you do? We all belong to him, and we're all trying to do to the best of our ability what we deem right, what we believe is right based upon this word, to put a smile on his face, to follow the two prime directives as given to us in Matthew 22 by Messiah. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might, with everything you got, kid. Love your heavenly Father, and love your neighbor as yourself. And on this hangs all the Torah and the prophets. And so that's what we're not always great at it. Sometimes we're downright bad at it, but that's what we're trying to do. And so our identity is in him. We belong to him, and we all acknowledge that everybody else here belongs to him. And so we're fearfully, wonderfully created in his image, and we do a disservice to one another when we put labels on each other or put each other in these different boxes. Once you start to categorize people, you start down the slippery slope of being able to act upon those people.
Yeah.
You start building distance in between you and them, the us versus them dichotomy.
And so what I was saying was it's very much that. It's about your actions. What you're doing, what you believe is what determines who you are for us, I believe, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Because Native American, African American, white, doesn't matter. I look at Brother Twitch, who is any ignorant person could glance at him and think that he's a white supremacist because he's a skinny white dude with a shaved head.
What's up, Chad?
Between Brother Twitch, Brother Bear, Brother J.A., they're all, to me, and I believe this is pretty much universal amongst us, they're all Israel.
Yep.
They all strive with Elohim. They all overcome with Elohim. They all rule with Elohim. Their lifestyle determines they are Israel, and therefore we are all the same.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. For sure. Any advice on how to buy cheap farmland? Nope.
Nope.
It doesn't exist.
Let us know.
The time to buy
If
cheap
you have
farmland
any-
was 5 to 8 years ago, bro.
Yeah, eight. Let me say this.
It I'm a skinny white dude with a shaved head. How about some of us can't grow hair anymore? Hey, Brass Rainbow, it's okay. What's up, Jay Johns? Crash Kid is a purpose, but on shabba dabba dabba da. Okie Storm
Shalom,
Chaser,
Jay
shalom,
Johns.
brother.
Are we going to talk about Dudley continuing to work on his Hebrew beard?
I love it.
2017.
Howlitzer
Still
Bob,
growing.
bless you. Yeah, you know, I'm telling you, when people got upset that I shaved my beard, I'm like, guys, it'll be back. Like,
So
I ain't worried
That's
about
what I
it.
said.
Phelps shaved his.
That's why I
I
said I
know.
shaved mine. People were like,
Phelps looked like
"Oh
a
my
weirdo.
goodness, who is that?"
We're all like,
Why did you do that? And I was like, give it a month. Like, it's okay. Like, you'll survive a month with me not having a beard. No, I had a coworker with the same difficulties you have with
Oh,
face-
not being able to grow a beard?
yeah. So his was about maybe a half an inch longer than yours.
Mhm.
And he'd been working on it since the year 2002.
Ooh, ouch. That's really bad.
Hey, you got hope.
Yeah,
You go another
exactly.
inch. Give yourself another 15 years.
Just stay away from knives, clippers, and all that stuff.
Yeah. I have to admit, April 1st, I strongly considered sneaking in and shaving a portion of your beard.
That would
But
have been
then-
the first fight on camp.
Phelps gets his first jiu-jitsu lesson from Jay.
You're welcome, Ford
This
and
is how
WordPress.
to lose.
You know, Tennessee Tactical, I'm going the other direction now. I had a light spot back here that's turning into a bald spot. I told my wife the other day, I think I need to just shave it.
I told him he needed to go to Bosley and have him pull some of his chest or his butt.
I was gonna. There's also that. I could always just put some ass hair on top of my head and
Butt
call it good.
fur on your head. Oh my goodness, just shave it.
Chest fur. But his chest fur is real curly.
Chad, good to see you, man. I enjoyed talking with you.
have
You have a
little
Hope all's well in your world,
curl-
brother.
Yeah, like a little
curl
perm.
Yeah, it's good to
back
see you.
there.
Listen to the still small voice. Bear, your word from the Father has saved me and my family. God bless you. You're doing God's work for sure. We love you. Kevin F., we love you back, man. Praise the Father.
Is that Kevin?
Praise the
I
Father.
don't think so.
I know.
We got a lot of Kevins in our life.
I know.
Yeah.
Which Kevin?
Best tomatoes for salsa. Romas, I like. But whatever floats your boat.
Romans are
James,
easier. They have
From the
depends how you like your salsa.
he was in the
Less
Dallas class.
juices.
Mm.
Bacon of the Month Club, sign me up.
I don't know about Grindstone Raffle right now. We need to figure out how to administrate that, honestly.
No,
Um,
please, no.
It's all good. I think the race thing ends when you consider Genesis 1:27, and Elohim created the man in his image. In the image of Elohim, he created him, male and female, he created them. Michigan Shepherd, I agree.
Absolutely.
There are unfortunately people who will make salvation a race issue, and it's complete and utter bullshit.
And that is such a stretch to me. Like, how illogical. do you have
Both
to
ways,
be?
yeah. Both. There's people that will say, well, if you're anything but white, you're going to hell, and there's people who say that if you're anything but black, you're going to hell.
Right.
I'm like, what? Like,
How illogical is that? Like,
They call it the human race.
right. None. Yeah,
Exactly.
there are actually no other races. There are different cultures, and there are different ethnicities. Exactly. But
Well,
all
that was
the
all
human
because
race.
people screwed up way back in the day, and y'all had to like.
I want to answer this question from
Y'all was doing
Anthony.
some smiting.
Yeah.
7 meals just for dinner meals, or do you include breakfast in that?
I do 10.
So Renee does 10 meals. We're up to like 10 meals now, dinner meals as well. But breakfast is, now I like the fact you're at like prepping 301 at this point. This is great. Okay.
I'm kidding about breakfast.
Yeah, this is great. Like most people, I'm like, buy food, put it in buckets. You're like, so now that dinner's covered, what else should I be working on? It's a great question. You can go to the restaurant store and get 25 and 50-pound sacks of pancake mix for like $20, $25. Just add water. That stuff buckets up great. Don't forget the syrup, as Renee said. Same thing with biscuit mix. Just add water, biscuit mix. Eggs, we don't have a problem with around here. Usually the egg problem is we have too many of them, not the other way around. Breakfast sausage, we're actually going to butcher some lambs just to make breakfast sausage out of. Beef bacon, need I say more? Right? And so breakfast, most of the time, if you think about what we typically have for breakfast, it's bread. It's some type of bread, right? Whether it's toast with butter on it or toast with honey, or it's a donut, that's just bread, right? Pancakes, that's bread. Oats, biscuits, that's just bread, right? Exactly. Oats, whole oats, and quick oats even. You get 50-pound sacks of quick oats from the restaurant store. And so pretty quick, you can get 50-pound sacks of donut mix. Just add water, donut mix from the restaurant store. So pretty quick, you get into your 7 meals for breakfast too. And lunch for me is kind of like a free-for-all because there's probably going to be some leftovers from the night before. And then there's all the boxed stuff, macaroni and cheese, ramen noodles, beef ravioli, canned soups, all that stuff that becomes like a lunch thing for me.
But if people forget, you can get your 3-month supply and expand it to a year, and that becomes your lunch plate.
Yeah. Yeah.
And your everyday stuff, then you do 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months.
And I would encourage everyone, I was just recently talking to my uncle about this. I was like, I would encourage everyone, whatever you have planned for the first 3 months of, the shit hits the fan.
Jay Johns is talking crap.
Well, whatever you have planned for the first 3 months of the shit hits the fan.
Like,
my mouth is like watering.
I'm sorry, Phelps. Jay Johns is a problem right now.
Hold on. I got this. Guys, I got this. We have too many lambs. We have an Okie versus Jay Johns cook-off at the gazebo. Winner gets this lighter, and we get to eat all the lamb. Right? Like,
Steph's making cookies.
Steph will make cookies. It'll be an annual thing. You know what? Well, that's true. Nan's cookies are really good too.
Yeah.
Everybody just make whatever you want to make. Yeah, and then we'll have a judge panel. They'll have a panel of judges, and you win the title for the year until next year.
Ooh.
Done. Let's do it.
You have to bring your A game.
Let's do it.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
You can make that thick gumbo.
That was so good.
50 pounds of
That was
donut mix
good.
is $32. R.I.P. keto. Yeah, exactly.
Your gumbo is delicious.
Yeah, gumbo's awesome.
Your gumbo
It's the thick
screw up
gumbo.
was delicious.
Thick
So
gumbo.
by default, your gumbo is delicious.
Mike, thank you. Miss Hermit Hill says, how do you package and store ramen noodles for long term? I don't. They last forever. And so I buy it.
Moisture is the enemy of ramen noodles that have been dried.
Yep.
So ramen noodles, if you make them, are like any other pasta. So you store them, you treat them and store them like any other pasta. So if you have a way to dehydrate them and dry them, then they will last almost indefinitely.
So yeah, I basically buy a year's worth of ramen at a time. I put it on a shelf in the pantry. The kids eat it occasionally, and I look at it and I go, we're getting a little low on ramen. And I'll buy more ramen, and I'll just put that at the bottom of the stack, and that's what I do with ramen.
Justin knows what's up. He's like, how do I get on the judges panel?
Right? Ian King, bless you. New recipe for braised lamb. You can't stop eating it. Orders of magnitude better than gumbo. Just wait. Okay, bring it.
I
mean,
do
Put up or shut up. Put up or shut up.
Be not just a hearer of the word, but a doer also. I just started my vacuum sealer up today. That's awesome. We love vacuum sealers.
Yeah, year's worth of ramen, $10. Absolutely.
Sealed 60 pounds of sugar today. Awesome. I've heard YouTubers say ramen doesn't last long. Nonsense. Well, it doesn't last long in my house. I could get a year's worth of ramen and never restock it, and it'd be gone in less than a year.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, ramen's gotta last. I mean, it's gotta be 5 years, like 10
For
years
sure.
probably without
for sure, easy.
Is there an expiration date on it?
Are you liking the freeze dryer yet? I'm actually in the middle of doing a freeze dryer video right now with my wife for YouTube.
He says save a neck and hind quarter. I've literally eaten ramen that was 5 years past the expiration date,
Yeah.
and there was no difference.
Mm-hmm.
Your little packet might come out a little crunchy.
Hey,
Break it up.
my wife likes that like chocolate drizzled popcorn stuff that comes in like a big chip bag, and she found it was on like clearance at a store 2.5 years ago. I think she literally got 15 of them. There's still some bags of it in the long-term food storage, and occasionally she'll pop one open. That stuff's like the day it was put in there. Now, it has an expiration date on the side of the package. Oh, you're going to get botulism if you eat that. Whatever, man. You pop that thing open, it's as good as the
corn.
Yeah, it's as good as the day it went in there. So ramen will go stale if you leave it in 120 heat for a few. Well, yeah, there's that too.
That's true.
Freeze dry freedom seeds. Nah, there's no moisture in them. Wait, they put an expiration date on ramen. Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So what kind of cows do you have, and what do you recommend for a rookie for feeders?
Before you answer that, like Renee said,
Ramen never dies. Yeah.
no, like Renee said, they put expiration date on tape.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, yes, but most cases it says best buy, and
Yeah.
people think that that's an expiration date. But
Yep. What's up, Helen Kessler?
go ahead.
What was the question? Oh, what kind of cows do you have? So we have Zebu cattle, and they're delicious. They basically are like mini Wagyu beef, kind of crossbred with like a Beefmaster / Angus kind of thing, but they're tasty. They look like Brahmas. They look like little Brahmas.
They do.
We got them because mature slaughter weight is 500 pounds. Oh, that was a big one right there.
Whoa.
Whoa! Did you see the lights dim and everything? Everybody looks at the bug zapper. Son of a.
Smoke like comes off.
Yeah, it's like
So, Zebu liked the Veggie Tale song. That's exactly right, Lymph. That's exactly right. So, we got them, A, because they were available. B, because they only get to max 500 pounds, which means if I had to, me and my brothers could manhandle these things and butcher them without any heavy equipment, without any special equipment. And they're tasty. So, C, they're tasty. Now, we've had a lot of people say they're mini cows. They're 2 to 3 times the size of a sheep. We've had a lot of people say, well, you should have got Dexter's. Well, I didn't have access to Dexter's. Well, why didn't you just get some Black Angus? Well, I could have gotten those, but you need much more room and a much better grass resource for those than you do for the Zebu, which I don't have. And you need to be able to move an 800 to 1,500 pound animal, which I don't have the ability to do anyway. And let's say the world ends, man. I can butcher a Zebu without too much more effort than butchering a sheep. I can't butcher a Brangus with the same level of input
a Zebu
as a sheep.
Obviously, we haven't done it yet, but I imagine, based off seeing them, that it's probably about twice as much effort as a sheep, which is still manageable, but it's also at the upper limits of manageable.
Right. For what we are. Yeah.
For what we are. And granted, like we have JA and me and you and other brothers, and so it's not like
Mm-hmm.
One man by himself would probably have a hard time butchering a zebu even. But you start talking about like a Black Angus, you need a dedicated facility with a winch hoist
Yeah.
in
Well,
order to lift it up in order to be able to freaking butcher it.
well, like Brass said, Bear, you have a skid steer. You can hang and slaughter anything. Yes, comma, I don't own the skid steer. Now, if the world ends and it happens to be here while it's still on rent, we'll settle up later. But it's not mine. I've been renting it a month at a time for 1 month for the last 7 months. So,
and so but we're talking about from beginning to end. So a lot of people focus on just the butchering aspect of it, but we're talking about slaughtering and butchering. So I have a winch on the front of my Jeep.
yeah.
We can pick up a freaking Black Angus. Like that's the lifting it is not necessarily an issue. It's a matter of maneuvering it while you're butchering it.
Yep.
And wrestling it while you're slaughtering it.
Yeah, and where do you put it when
Yeah.
you're done with it? You
You
got
have
to
to-
process it too,
Are you going to literally slit the throat and then build a structure that you can lift it by and pull the Jeep over and hook the winch up and lift
Yep.
it up? And then you've got 6 brothers to move it around to butcher it. Like it's just practical.
Kathy
Cattle.
Wade, we're not saying zebra, we're saying zebu. They are a type of cattle.
Zulu.
That's
Echo,
no
Bravo,
easy task.
uniform.
If butchered a duck, that was work. A whole cow? Yeah, exactly. Well, we actually are pretty damn good at butchering sheep, and I've butchered a lot of deer as well, and goats and all of that. And they're all ruminants, so deer, moose, elk, sheep, goats, cattle. They're all put together the same, more or less.
Yeah, and seeing this guy go through a sheep, it's just like, and I'm sitting there. So I am not experienced with butchering, and I watch him just like go through it as the cook and Passover both times. He's sitting there just like, whoop, 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 and we're gonna do this, and whoop, whoop, and stuff starts falling apart, and I'm like, what is going on? He's like, yeah, they're built that way. That's the way that's the way that works. And I'm like, yeah, but how'd you get there? Honestly, yeah, he's an expert.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It just go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say it looks just like how it looks on YouTube.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
pretty much. I've been wanting to butcher for a long time. Finally got my knife dirty this year.
Well, we have more to do.
Yes.
So we're gonna
I am ready.
We'll
I was
do-
just sharpening my knives earlier.
we'll do some videos too while we're doing it. So
Yahtzee.
and this is this is not a butcher knife. That's not what it's for. This is the Ontario Rat 5, but I love this knife for butchering because of the belly of the blade. So this here, if you're squeamish, if you like not knowing where your food comes from, you're not going to like this next part, okay? But when you pull the knife across the throat, and some people go in and then push out, and that's perfectly fine. You put the tip of the knife in the side of the neck and push out and sever the jugular. I start here on the side and wrap around so I get both sides and the windpipe at the same time.
You have to have bear strength to do that. I will note for anyone in the chat who is not aware of the fact that you can stick it in, and when you push it in from the side, you're pushing out.
Mm-hmm.
You still have to cut the same tendons, but you sever the arteries first.
Mm-hmm.
The tendons will stretch, and you sever the arteries first. Bear does it because he has bear strength, and he starts here. He pushes within half an inch of the spine and drags it across, and it stays no further than an inch from the spine as he drags it across. But you're cutting through all those tendons and veins and muscle and everything all at once.
Yep. And so I like this knife for that because of the belly of the blade. There you have a minimal amount of contact with the blade to the flesh. And so it's great for that when you wrap, the the profile of the blade, it really gets in there versus a straight. It bites exactly versus a straight blade like this, the Essie, which is a phenomenal knife, but it's a different blade profile, and so. Now, it doesn't look like it really on camera, but just trust me on this. The belly on this one, yeah.
So you see how here it comes down and through?
Yep.
And this is straight across and then up.
Right. So this one here, this is the Rat 5. I love it for that. And then also because it has that blade profile, when I'm caping, meaning I'm taking the skin away from the meat while trying to keep the fat, subcutaneous fat on the carcass. The profile of this when I'm caping, I will choke up like this, where I take my middle finger, put it in the choil of the knife, and I take my pointer finger and put it along the back of the knife, and just use the first little bit of the blade right here, this part of the blade, and you pull tension, and you just work back like this, and it just sits in the hand. I mean, look at that. It just sits in the hand perfectly, and you can just cape with it wonderfully.
He uses 1/3 of that blade because that curve is like what you would see on like a kukri.
Right.
Like it's like it's got that curve like a kukri, but a kukri's way too big for caping.
Yep. So, yeah, I really like this knife, even though it's not technically a butchering. You can see the belly of the blade. It shows up better when the knife's upside down like that. But just the incredible arc in the blade that this has, it's a great butchering knife that I've found, and it works great for dispatching as well. So will a Rat 3 work for people with normal size hands? Yeah, well, this is the Rat 3. This was my EDC for a long time, and it's tiny. I love it, but it's a tiny little knife. But anyway, so
Can I see?
sure.
That's not tiny.
Yours is tiny. Yours is like standard issue for infants and toddlers.
Should catch her like 400 times.
To answer the question, I say no.
Good night, Yankee.
To answer the question, I say no. Look at the profile of those blades.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's different.
Yeah. The thing about, I don't know what this is. You just said
Rat 5.
The Rat 5. The thing about the Rat 5 is that the curvature of that blade, it comes forward almost to the level of your fingers. Not quite to the level of your finger, but almost to the level of your fingers. Versus this does not. It has the same, like this is
More straight.
above your knuckles.
Yep.
As opposed to coming out and above your, which there's nothing wrong with this because I mean they have less distance and metal to work with. But
somebody also mentioned the Mora, and I use the Mora a good bit for butchering as well. A lot for poultry because of the size of the knife, but also for sheep. But really, when I'm breaking down, not for slaughtering, not for dispatching, not for gutting, not for caping for sure, because it's just got that little profile right here where there's curvature to the blade. But for cutting through tendon and stuff like that, this is a great $15 knife. This is also carbon steel, which is why you can see it's got surface rust on it, and also because we use our things around here, they don't just hang out. So
this isn't what Home and Garden magazine or whatever.
Yeah. Better Homes and Gardens.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this. Look at the wear on this knife.
Someone else mentioned that. Hey, he's used that a little bit. Yeah. Yeah. So something else to keep in mind, even in butchering a sheep at Passover, you started out with this. You dispatched it with this. You did the caping with this. And then when you started gutting, you switched the Mora and you handed this to me, and I started sharpening it
Uh-huh.
because you'd worn off the edge enough that it wasn't as sharp as it should have been. And you handed it out to me. I spent 30, 45 seconds sharpening it. And in 30, 45 seconds, you had finished the preliminary cuts of the cutting. And then I handed it back to you, and you went back to using that.
Yep.
You know, like,
Yep.
so, yeah.
Caping is easier if the critter is warm. Absolutely. Absolutely. And somebody asked, what do you do with the hides? I compost them. I've given them away to other people who have tanned them, although I haven't seen the finished product. And then also on Passover, we burn the hide because we're commanded to.
Yeah. But at Passover last year, we had a sister who wanted to tan those hides. And so I remember we kept them intact and gave them there.
What do you do with a calf that just won't grow? He eats okay, drinks enough, licks the protein tub, but at 7 months old, he only weighs 80 pounds, should be over 400 by now. Anthony, you got a veal, brother. I've had to do this with lambs that just weren't growing out. And you don't want those genetics in your herd. You got a veal, bro. Who believes the preacher with the brand new Bible? Yeah, that's a good point. This one's got a few miles on it.
That's like the bushcrafter with a brand new knife.
Right. Butcher science goes deep. If you don't know how to sharpen, cape, and skin, you should have one person in your mag that does. I agree. Absolutely.
Well, and sharpening is a whole skill of itself. Like, and people don't realize that. Like, people think, oh, well, I mean, a knife comes sharp and it'll stay sharp. They don't realize, like, you put it into hard use, you have to sharpen it. You have to maintain it.
Yep.
And that goes for most any equipment, but for some reason, people just ignore the fact that applies to knives.
Yep. Yeah, and I love sharpening knives, and because I love a sharp knife.
Yeah. Well, and anyone who hasn't used it extensively, they don't realize the fact that you can overcome a degree of dullness with more force. And so someone who only uses a knife 2 weekends a year, they will think, oh, it's fine because I can still cut.
It's still sharp. Yep.
I can still cut this, so it's still sharp. But someone who uses it every weekend of the year,
right,
they'll know that, oh, this is not cutting like it should.
Already on this knife, OKC Rat 1, which I recently sharpened as well, you can see the finish on the tip is starting to wear. And that's fine. I'm cool with it because I see beauty in functionality. If it works, I'm happy. I care much less that it looks brand new,
has a finish,
than that it works. So, most dangerous tool in the kitchen is a dull knife. That's a great point. Look at this. Speaking, that ain't a knife. This is a knife. OKC RTAC 2. Look at the finish on this guy. He's done some stuff. And this is, I have 2 of these, and this is the lighter used one of the 2. And this thing, for comparison, is a hand axe. It's here's my folder. So yeah.
The grizzly on that was not showing through. I had to. You need light to see how much that blade has been used.
So yeah, use your stuff, and maybe like assault a position with this or something like.
On some wood, build a structure.
You okay? Yeah. Okay. It's shy of a machete. Yeah, but see, machetes are not hardened. Machetes are soft steel. And they're also not a 1/4 inch thick. So this thing chops, man. On camera, that thing looks like a saw blade. Yeah, it's a big knife. It's probably pushing 18 inches overall length.
Oh yeah.
What are you doing back there, huh?
I plugged in the wrong lights.
Oh, there you go.
Look at that. Now we can
Wow.
see a bear.
What's your opinion on K-Bar? Good knife. Good knife for sure. Do you like cold steel? I do. I really am a big fan of the Ontario Knife Company stuff. I just did a video on all these knives. That's why they were in that pack. But my biggest complaint about OKC, Ontario Knife Company, is that they send garbage sheaths. I would rather pay more money for a good sheath. Like this is an OKC and an aftermarket Kydex. I'd rather pay more money for a good knife with a good sheath than a good knife with this. So
My mindset. So we slightly disagree on this because I think
how dare you?
they skimp on the sheath because they realize people that use their knives all the time are most likely going to go to like our brother in the chat who creates custom leather sheaths.
Yeah.
And some people want a scout carry, and some people want a belt carry, and some people, there's a variety. They can't sell the knife with every variety of sheath.
No, I get that. Just for my money,
of course,
I'd rather pay if this was $70 or $100 with a good sheath, I'd rather pay $100 with a good sheath.
Yep.
So,
but your definition of good,
yeah, no, I get that. You're saying this knife looks like a saw blade with the serrations. These serrations have been through. Yeah.
Oh, there are.
They've been through the ringer, man. But it is sharp. It will kill. Custom leather sheath. Who makes Fortner's Frontier Leather? Who is here in the chat? Fortner's Frontier Leather. I think he's still here. Just got my holster to fit my new Olight Balder Mini. Highly recommend the light. Yes, assuming you can understand Olight's naming conventions and find the appropriate one, that it's not the Valkyrie PL2 Micro XLT 4x4 apostrophe comma rainbow unicorn, then yes, for sure. But that I'd never. I have 10 or more Olight weapons lights, at least four handhelds, and I, for the life of me, can't tell you what any of the effing things are called. I don't know. I have to pull them out of my pocket and they go, "Hey, sweet light, what is that?" It's the Olight M2R Pro Warrior Kilo Charlie 0806120. That's what it is.
But at a half a mile, you can look at the corner light on a yellow piece of road machinery and say, "Oh, that's a Cat 560."
That's because of familiarity. That's because of familiarity.
So I recently got my Balder Mini as well. I love it. It's an awesome weapons light. So with weapons combos, you won't necessarily find that. Our brother Savvy there in the chat, he makes holsters for. He makes any holster you want, really, but
Kydex.
Yeah, any Kydex holster you want, but specifically, if you have a combination that is not common, then he can hook you up.
Do I need to model back behind you?
Well, you're not allowed to show firearms on the live stream, but I guess as long as
you
you're
take the firearm out and show the holster.
Like that.
Just take the gun out. Show the holster.
Yeah, like
there
that.
We go.
Like that right there. Like that right there.
Yep. See?
Yep.
That's a YWBD
And
custom. Oh yeah.
pirouette.
I can show those things.
There you go.
Flashlight holder, 2 magazines. Looking good.
Lovely.
Yeah.
What do you do with your Lebanon Passover? I take it outside of my house because that's what it says to do. Some people burn it. Some people bury it. Some people play a game of getting out of the house. Some people destroy it, throw it out. I take it outside of my house because that's what it says to do. Yes, it is the X-Ray Yankee Zulu 123 Steven edition. That is correct. We need a catwalk. What is a good light for the Canic TPSA?
That's also a savvy issue.
They're all super good. Now, like, I wouldn't say they're not all of them because there's a lot of bad brands out there. But anything Olight makes, you're going to be happy with. My go-to weapons light is this, the TLR1 from Streamlight HL Focus. There you go. That's my go-to weapons light right there because it does that, it does that, and then it does that. So, sorry, Fo. You okay over there?
So this is not actually a gun.
I don't even think you can show that on a live
Doesn't have a
stream.
slide on it. But
No, because now you're a manufacturer of some garbage.
Yeah, it's a boulder, right?
Yeah,
this is a Balder Mini.
yeah.
I was going to show it in comparison to yours.
Oh, okay. Well, I have the Boulder. Well, I used to have the Boulder Mini on the Glock 19X. Anyway, yeah. So it's tiny, right? That's the
So,
HLR1.
Smaller on the frame.
Green light too?
Yeah,
than
green laser.
That is.
You didn't know that?
For sure.
Oh. Gotta get used to this.
Yep.
So on a compact
You could either
pistol.
have laser,
But this thing,
light
I mean,
laser, or just light.
shine it back there. Yeah. I love this Streamlight.
Yeah, this one is not as bright, actually.
Yep. Thanks, Dud. Working great.
This is
He's just getting revenge for Foe, huh?
this one does have a laser though as well.
Right.
So
Do you bring it back all back in or leave it buried?
That's it.
No, we bring it back in. Sergeant Storm, what's up, bro? There go all the pieces.
Is there anything else?
I roll with Surefire. Mine survived ID blasts and such. Yeah, I like the Surefire. I like Streamlight. I like Olight. So
the AR-15 eventually.
which of your patrons do you feel gives the best value? What's included in the $10 Patreon level? So you're qualified for the loot box giveaway. You get all the write-ups. You get the intel reports. You get the live streams that we do in the morning. I think right now, honestly, probably the best tier is the $20 per month tier because there's a whole new, for the 20, 50, 100, there's a whole new series of content that's being produced at a much higher level for those three tiers. Plus, you get the coffee mug, the t-shirt, the hoodie, whichever you prefer, depending on what tier you are. You get the write-ups, you get the PDFs, you get the intel reports when they're released, you get the live streams in the morning, you get exclusive content Monday, Wednesday, Friday, live streams Tuesday and Thursday morning. When I'm not on YouTube, I'm on Patreon. So live streams Tuesday, Thursday morning. You get the loot box giveaway at that tier. So I think that's probably the sweet spot right now is the 20. And then if not the 20, then the 5. Because the 5, you get the write-ups, the intel, or I say write-ups, you get the intel reports, the loot box, and the live streams. So let's see. We'll probably put a bow on this thing right about 10 p.m. It's 9:38 now. A couple more, about another 20 minutes or so. What's up, Medic Mouse? If I increase my tier right now, will I qualify for my hoodie after 3 months? Yes, I believe that is correct.
yes, so back in the day, I had the Patreon at a lower tier, and you didn't have any open positions for a higher tier. When you started releasing the hoodies and mugs, and
That happens occasionally, yeah.
Yeah, I upgraded the tier. If you upgrade after 3 months, you still qualify for the benefit. The other thing I was going to say was that those of y'all who may not realize this was almost a Patreon only live stream.
Yeah. Shalom, foe.
Well,
Have a good
Shalom,
evening.
brother. Good night.
we're doing breakfast tomorrow morning at that new place that we
Okay.
found.
What time?
I'm just thinking around like 9.
Okay. Shoot me a text.
I'll go there. I'll shoot a text.
Yeah.
Maybe
Awesome.
9:30.
Yeah.
That's fine. Shoot me a text.
Yeah, 9:30 might work better.
Okay. Cool, man.
All right.
Shaloha.
Master Dylan, shalom.
Hey, Bear, did you purge all the anti-whiskey drinkers off your streams? No. I just purged the people that want to make it a stumbling block between me and them. And if that's you, I'm happy to do that to you as well, John. But I don't think that it is. I'm hoping that you're asking an honest question. So, Kathy Wade. There you go. Heck yeah, breakfast. Moonlight King is in. Awesome. Joey Jones, I'd like to say thank you, Bear. You have taught a man to fish, and I appreciate it more than you know. Bless you, Joey Jones. Praise the Father, man. If you see anything good in me, it's because the Father's badass, not because I am. Joshua Pohl.
And that's not something he just says for y'all on camera. That is something that is consistently reiterated.
I appreciate that. Joshua says, any plans to keep bees? No, we have somebody very near to us that keeps bees, and I've thought about it. I've thought about it because I want it from a pollination standpoint, and then for honey for sure. But we're just not there yet. Honestly, it's if you try and do everything at one time, you end up getting nothing done. And so we've gotten our animal agriculture pretty well squared away, and this year focusing more on plants, actual agriculture. And so that's what we're doing this year.
I would also input that if you have swarming going on in your area and you're familiar with beekeeping and you're trying to work a garden, but you're just getting started in that, play to your strengths. Go into beekeeping because your neighbor may have a garden and you might be the guy that has honey. So I'm saying guy as a generic term, but you may have the person who has honey.
Sorry, what did you say, Tabor? Go ahead.
And I'm just saying that, we have not gone into that because we started in different arenas, like starting in different specialities because we play to our strengths, work from a position of strength, but also like you've admitted, gardening, y'all's first attempt at gardening got, hosed. Quite literally, quite literally, but livestock, you're really, really good at.
Yep.
So play to your strengths. If you have a piece of land that is just, rich, fertile soil, work on gardening and maybe prioritize livestock and beekeeping below that.
Yep.
Ultimately, we all want to be able to do everything, but you have to prioritize it. You can't take on everything all at once, like you just said. You can't take on everything at once, but when you're prioritizing it, look at what your strengths are. If your strength is rich, fertile land, then start growing crops. If your strength is open grassland, grow livestock, If your strength is that you have swarms happening on your property,
Shalom, y'all.
and you have knowledge of beekeeping.
Okay.
All right, shalom, y'all. If you have knowledge of beekeeping and you recognize you have swarming happening on your property, then take up beekeeping. Like, there's nothing wrong with you placing that as a priority. It's an issue we run into with like, oh, what should I do, Bear, in this situation? Well, I don't know, because I don't know what your situation is, right? Like it's a very complex issue sometimes.
Well, to that point, Ted made a comment that I thought was really great, and I appreciate it, Ted. It's crazy to see Bear over the years develop his sense of procurement and being able to identify the peripherals and what capabilities he can do as he grows. This is a man you might invest in. I appreciate that.
That is, thank you. I mean,
Yep.
that's good.
Yep, I appreciate that.
I say thank you because he needs to hear more stuff like that when it's not BS. Like when it's something like that comment is obviously from it's not
Someone
Bear
who's been here a
fandom.
while, yeah.
It's not Bear fandom. It's someone who recognizes something and comments on it.
I appreciate that, Ted. Thank you. And Tavar, you are now a blue wrench, so yeah, that's an oversight on my behalf, sir. Oh man, a few more minutes.
Few more minutes.
Few more minutes. What are you up to, sweetheart?
Oh, I just finished it.
Would you like to
No.
starting with okay.
No.
I'm not starting.
What are you sipping on? One of them strange.
Sprite and apple and sour apple.
Sprite and apple and sour apple. I think I want one more drink, but I don't really want to move, so we're just gonna let it be. You don't have to do that. You can if you want to. You don't have to. Okay. Great. Ice. Scotch. Di Serrano. Thank you. I think Hans Hamann is first in queue now. We have like 30 blue ranches. Although sometimes when we have like a big live stream in the morning, sometimes when there's 1,000 or a couple thousand people there, it takes that many just to keep up with all the crazies. So how much land you need per head of cattle or sheep? Jesse, that's a great question. With cattle, it's quantified in what's called cow days, which essentially means how many days can one cow exist on an acre of land. And in short, it depends. And it really depends on your grass resource, which is going to depend on your soil, your sunlight, and your water.
Type of grass.
And the type of grass. So the average is 80 cow days per acre. You look at a place like Polyface Farms, Joel Salatin, they're up to over 400 cow days per acre. And so in that scenario, you'd have one cow per acre per year, good to go. Rotational grazing is a big deal. If you're not supplementing feed or if you're not feeding hay, you want to move your cattle around. General rule of thumb is one head of cattle per 1 to 2 acres of pasture land. An improved pasture, meaning it's not native pasture, it doesn't have weeds in it, it's an improved grass resource. You can go, one cow, one head of cattle for every 1.5 acres, or maybe even every 1 acre. So you can get more dense because there's a better resource of grass there. Thank you. Same thing goes for sheep. On a mediocre grass resource, you're looking at 5 sheep per acre. On a good grass resource, you're looking at 10 sheep per acre if you're not supplementing feed. And again, what constitutes a good grass resource? Basically improved pasture that has good grass on it, gets good sunlight, is on good soil, and is getting an appropriate amount of rain. Now, the cool thing about having animals on your land is they improve your pasture. All that manure they're putting down, all that feed that you're feeding, all the hay, if you're feeding hay, all of that is improving your pasture. It's improving the output of the land that they're on because they're fertilizing it. They're eating the weeds. So having animals on the land improves the land, not the other way around. And contrary to popular belief, sheep don't destroy grasslands. But what they will do is they will overgraze if you keep them in an area for too long. So it's all about what the grass resource is. So, guys, we have to make sure no little kids are watching.
Yeah.
Why do we have to do that? Ian Cat Guy 123. I don't understand.
As your toddler comes outside.
Right, I'll make it happen at Loom. Check out Beekeeping Bible. Apparently, it's bubble blowing time before the sun goes away. Okie dokie. Cows will kill pasture. They only eat good grass. Sheep will help pasture. They eat most of the weeds. Tank, it depends on the cows. I've had cows growing up, and I have cows now. And rotational grazing of cattle can and will improve pasture. Depending on the breed and depending on the level of input that you give them. So, Ian Car Guy, I don't understand you. Are you looking to get schwacked with a hammer? What's going on here?
I don't know.
Later, Ian.
Oh, there it goes.
I wish you a wonderful life. Putting money down towards Okie Scrub land. Prayers needed for second cyber job. About to be doing 16-hour days for land debt free. Bless you, bro. That's awesome. What are the most efficient types of livestock in relation to the amount of input? Chickens. Start with chickens. They require almost no input, almost no TLC. You get eggs and meat and manure out of it. Are you doing 2 days in Pittsburgh? I have no idea. Are we doing 2 days in Pittsburgh? Momentarily. I have to make a pitch stop.
I am not aware of a Pittsburgh class.
Get the people, then we will come.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Bear, I'm a Papa Bear. What's the next tier? Raging Militant Bear of Doom. That's the $20 tier.
That was my tier for a long time. I love that tier.
Yeah. Yep.
You get a coffee mug.
You get a coffee mug, says
Well,
my
I
wife.
upgraded before the coffee mug thing, but
Yep.
I wanted the shirt.
I got quail. They have been my favorite livestock. Awesome. We've thought about doing quail. And I think, honestly, the reason we haven't is we just have so much. We have sheep, goats, turkeys, chickens, and now cattle. And so when it comes to meat, like, guys, I was grilling meat up earlier today so that my wife could freeze dry it so we could make room in the freezers for the lambs that we have to butcher. And so praise Yah, we have the opposite issue right now of not like, oh no, how are we going to generate protein for SHTF?
No.
It's like, what are we going to do with all these animals?
Protein. What are we going to eat with our protein?
Everybody's going keto, man.
Yes.
So
Straight carnivore diet. No, so the other thing to keep in mind with quail or pheasant, both of which you can absolutely grow on a homestead. You can not grow, but you can raise them on a homestead. Is vertically. So you have to create a ranging area for them to feed and range in that is also encapsulated. And so their chickens, y'all have multiple chicken, flocks.
Yeah.
That, one here in the chicken coop itself, and you have like an egg-laying flock over there, and then you have a barnyard flock over there, and then the neighbor has a flock that is ours or theirs. It just kind of migrates around and whatnot. But you can't do that with quail or pheasant, because they will flight away. They'll be gone. And so you have to have a specific type of enclosure. So you have to plan that when you're preparing to do that. You have to plan it to where you have a large enough area for them to feed in and for them to live in, but that is also preventative of them leaving that area.
Somebody also said coyote magnets, and for sure predation is a thing.
Not just coyotes, quails and pheasants are even more than chickens or any other type of livestock. Quails and pheasants are the primary target of any type of hawk or any kind of predatory bird. They will come down and kill them, and they don't necessarily even eat all of them. They will kill them, eat a couple organs, and leave. and you're just left with a dead bird.
Yeah. So for dealing with predation, we have a battle dog who kills predators and does a very good job at it. So he helps quite a bit. He also alerts oftentimes to things that are trying to eat our animals at night that that he can't get to.
Yeah.
Like treed possums and raccoons and stuff like that. And so he'll do his arf arf arf, and we're like, oh, something needs dead. Come outside with a rifle and a flashlight, make it dead. Good job, Sam. Feed him the thing we just killed, and then go back to sleep. So that helps quite a bit. I saw, what was it, Ted? Meat rabbits, question mark. I hear you can't get manure out of chickens, but rabbits are a good option due to foodborne illness. So let me touch on that in a minute. We don't eat rabbits because we keep Leviticus 11, and getting to foodborne illness, you can have issues with rabbits with foodborne illness because they're a parasitical cul-de-sac. And so rabbits in the summer, especially wild rabbits in places that it gets very hot, they can get parasites, they get worms. You don't want to eat those things. That being said, I've eaten a lot of rabbit in my life, but the whole idea that you can't get, what did I do? That you can't get manure from a rabbit is bunk. They actually make phenomenal manure for the garden, as do chickens. The thing with chickens is that chicken manure is what's called hot. You want to compost it. There's so much nitrogen in it that it can burn the plants if you apply it directly. Now,
the same that, pig shit or cow shit, any type of manure that it is, except for rabbit. Rabbit is really an outstander because it is. Go ahead.
You can use it right now. Rabbit manure can go on right now, and it's super good manure. Now, we had rabbits in cages above our chickens, and so the rabbit manure would fall out of the bottom of the cage, and most of the time, sometimes we had to encourage it, but it would fall out of the bottom of the cage down to where the chickens were at. And I got this
theoretically.
Right. I got this from Daniel Salatin at Polyface Farms. They do this where they have their meat birds below the rabbits. And so they have wood chips, then chickens, then rabbits in cages. And then the manure falls from the rabbits into the wood chips where the chickens are. The wood chips also catch the chicken manure. The chickens scratch through all the wood chips and they incorporate the chicken manure and rabbit manure. Then you take that, you compost it, and you have awesome garden soil.
And you barely have to compost that, honestly.
Yeah.
You can speak from your own personal experience, but from everything, and I have not done it personally, mind you, but from everything I've heard, like that setup is a natural progression to where you don't end up having to compost it really necessarily at all.
And chickens, if you have your chickens closed up in a run, they make absolutely wonderful soil. Yeah. You put carbon in there. It's called the deep bedding method, and we did this and made phenomenal compost and soil out of this. You put carbon in there, wood chips or leaves or shredded paper or whatever you got, right? You put it in there, and that becomes the bedding for the chickens. And then they scratch through it. And as they scratch through it, they break it down and it becomes good black dirt. And then it'll start to smell. It'll smell like a bunch of chickens. Then you add more. You add another layer of carbon and they scratch through that and incorporate that and turn that into dirt. And it'll start to smell. And you add more and more and more until it's a foot, 18 inches deep inside of there. Then you go muck. And when you muck that out, instead of having to muck a little bit often, you muck a lot of compost, a lot of soil out of there every little while, every 90 days, every 120 days, and you get this beautiful black soil that's just
but it's rich, fertile soil,
full of nutrients. It's awesome stuff. So, and with that, it's 10 p.m. So we're gonna call it a night. We use straw. You can absolutely do that. Bless y'all. Thank you for hanging out with us, and I should see you guys in the morning for the report. Peace out, y'all. Shalom.
Stay blessed.